A competitive currency is measured in what it can purchase and sometimes measured against the dollar. Because I mean, that is the dollar is the currency, the benchmark everybody use all over the world, right? Okay, let's leave that because there are some currencies that against the dollar, they are weak, but the purchasing power within the country is strong. So let's assume now that, let's go with that line. In our country, before, the dollar has always been stronger than the Naira. But somehow, when you're spending a Naira in your country, you're purchasing in your country, what you're buying, you see the value of what you're buying. You get the value of your Naira being spent in your country, in Nigeria. But now what we see is that the Naira does not have value against the dollar, is also almost worthless in the purchasing power within Nigeria. And then you tell people that the Naira is not competitive. How? Explain. So I recently saw a video where the CBN governor, Dr. Olayemi Cardoso, was saying that the Naira is now very competitive. And it got me thinking, okay, I was saying, okay, I was listening to the video and I said, okay, let me hear more. Maybe, there is a way that you see something on face value and it doesn't make sense. But by the time they explain to you, you might understand where the person is coming from. And then it will now give you a clearer picture to say, oh, okay, this is why this thing is happening like this. Because sometimes we're not economists, so we don't know how some of these things work. Yeah. So anyway, let's look at the video. And then when we come back, we'll talk.
Because you have a situation where beyond just oil prices, in fact, if you look at the oil sector itself, you'll find that the importation had gone down with the Dangote refinery and all the other refineries coming up. The demand obviously will go down. The gas exports have, been on an upward trajectory. Now that we have a competitive currency, and it's something that you will hear me talk about over and over and over again. Our currency now is more competitive. So this should encourage exports. And indeed, for us as Nigeria and Nigerian businessmen, the opportunity to extend that dragnet into our sub-region is also an enormous opportunity now that we have such a competitive currency. So to answer your question, my belief is that if we continue doing the things we have done up to this point in time that have resulted in a positive surplus, we should be able to, in fact, improve that without too much of a problem.
So that is the video, saying that the Naira is not very competitive. So is in essence saying that we can take our Naira now, entrepreneurs, business owners, to take advantage of the competitiveness of the Naira. So you see, like I made a video some days ago, I said, I am going to try to be positive about this country. I'm going to try to say the positive things about this country. But that does not mean I'm not going to say things when they are wrong or when they don't seem clear to me. But I maintain that. I will continue to speak positive. But the truth is, one of the positive things I want to find out about this video is what this man meant by the Naira is not competitive. Like, you said a lot of things that even I was trying to understand what you mean by that. You didn't go down into details. But what Nigerians know is how the Naira is affecting their pocket, how the value of the currency is affecting them. As it stands today, the dollar is against the Naira is 1,600 for a dollar. Now, the worth of 1 million Naira is like 100,000. the worth of 100,000 is almost like 10,000. How do you convince the people that the Naira is not competitive? How? Because a competitive currency is measured in what it can purchase and sometimes measured against the dollar. Because I mean, that is the dollar is the currency, the benchmark everybody use all over the world, right? Okay, let's leave that because there are some currencies that against the dollar they are weak, but the purchasing power within the country is strong. So let's assume now that let's go with that line. In our country, before Nigeria, the dollar has always been stronger than the naira. But somehow, when you're spending a naira in your country, you're purchasing in your country, what you're buying, you see the value of what you're buying. You get the value of your naira being spent in your country, in Nigeria. But now what we see is that the naira does not have value against the dollar, is also almost worthless in the purchasing power within Nigeria. And then you tell people that the naira is not competitive. How? Explain. Don't give people that what's the word? I'm looking for the word. Don't give people that shallow explanation that for people to understand you, you have to go into details on how it is competitive. You're talking about refineries, that they are building more refineries. Today, people give us some kind of reason why the building of Dangote refineries is like a welcome development. And on the other hand, you see Dangote is practically on the news, like somebody who's crying, like this is a bad investment. Like, you guys, the things are not adding up. A lot of the things you guys are saying are not adding
I
up.
must say, I must comment.
Competitive money or currency, you don't need to tell us. We feel it. Nobody will tell an American that the dollar has value or is worthless. They know when they go to purchase. They know when they are spending it. But if you as the CBN governor, you have to sit down to explain to us or like force it down our truth as if you're trying to do propaganda. Meanwhile, in the everyday life, in the reality, people are spending this money. People are using this money. You see people who are going outside the country to buy stuff. They are looking for dollar. They're looking for dollar. Why? Because our money is not competitive. Why are they look? If our money is that competitive, why are they going out to look for dollar to go and transact their business? I mean, make it make sense. I mean, I'm talking from like an ignorant person who doesn't know how these economics work. So that's why I am really like I want more explanation. How is this competitive? How is this, uh, of value? How is the naira valuable at the moment, especially when a reality every day when you exchange for 600, 1,600 today. Tomorrow you are exchanging for 1,610. Next tomorrow you are exchanging for 1,620. Like it keeps going up and down, and so people feel safer saving their money in dollars because however it goes up and down the naira, the exchange rate of that day is what they will change the dollar, change their dollar to naira. So that's why I'm asking, like, is competitive? Maybe, but explain because the reality is telling a different story. It's not adding up. So you don't have to sit down and explain to us that if the dollar is as strong as you're saying it is, we will know by what we take our money to the market to purchase. So then if it's the technicalities you're trying to reason out, technicalities are good, but the ultimate of a currency or an economy is how it affects the people. So all these technicalities in a book, in a paper and all of that, it doesn't translate to anything if the end users are not feeling it. So that's why I am still here speaking from an ignorant point of view that maybe you should explain what you mean by the naira is competitive because it is not, it's not what we are seeing, it's not what we are feeling, it's not the money that we are spending the value we're getting is not in tune with what you're saying. I want to remain positive about my country. I will continue to speak positively about my country. But when things are not clear, we will still call you, the government, out to explain. Because we all want a better Nigeria. You don't like Nigeria more than I. I don't like Nigeria more than you. But you see, the thing is, a better Nigeria will benefit both you and I. So that's why it pays us to be truthful to ourselves, to put the right policies that will be beneficial to a lot of us, not because you are in a position where, because you have to make your paymaster look right, and then when things are not really right, you want to cover it up because some people will not understand the economics. They may not really understand the economics, right? But what they know is that they went to the market with 1,000, or let me say they went to the market with, let me say, 50,000 naira, and then what they came back home with is something that looks like what they bought for 10,000 naira. And that doesn't look to me like a competitive currency. So, Mr. or Dr. Olayemi Cardoso, please, we need more explanation on the competitiveness of the Naira. That's all. Anyway, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. What do you think? Anyway, if you're an economist and you understand what he's trying to say, like I said, we are speaking, especially me, I'm speaking from an ignorant point. So I really need to understand it. If you know whatever he's trying to say, maybe you should try to break it down and we might just understand what he's trying to say, because as it stands now, I don't understand anything he's saying, because what we have when we go to the market, what we get doesn't add up. So yeah. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. I see you again in my next video. Bye for now.